Hey guys, we're gonna probably get started a little early.
Hey, Maddie should be. All right, we will get started again. Just some housekeeping. Maddie will pass around the mic. And then we will do our best. If you are on Zoom, please chat me your questions and I will ask them for you just for logistical feedback purposes in the room. But we will get started. We have Morgan Gautrat and Vanessa DiBernardo from the Chicago Red Stars. Who's up first?
See the fans in the stands, it'll feel like a home game.
And just a quick follow-up, if that's okay. You two were here, well, you were at the final in 2019, very different team, very different game. Can you talk about why this year is different and just the difference in the mentality this year from that game?
Yeah, I feel like obviously in 2019, it was a shorter season. So I think that's first and foremost. It's been a very long season in February to now. And I think obviously, like you said, it's a completely different team, a different vibe, atmosphere. We still have the same core group of players, which I think is great and beneficial for us. We were there in 2019. I think we learned a lot from that experience and hopefully we'll use that for us on Saturday and obviously leading into the game. But I think, like you said, just kind of a different vibe in terms of everything we've gone through this week, but also like we have a lot of experience now being in this final game, and hopefully use that to our advantage.
Dan, utilizer Vanessa, just to maybe piggyback off that last question, you've been here for all the playoff run, in fact, that 2015, what kind of have you maybe learned from those experiences? Maybe obviously in the last 2 games might help you get tomorrow.
Yeah, I think kind of what Morgan said is every experience is unique and it's different. And I think all of those experiences we've learned from them, and we've learned different things. And once you get into the playoffs, it's just a different feeling and a different vibe. And I think what this club and this team especially has been able to do is use those experiences to really push ourselves to the final. And I think just all of those experiences are beneficial to us, and hopefully we'll be able to use those this weekend.
So, was there one of those games from the past that particularly bothered you?
All of them. I think for us, the 2019 final was tough to swallow, just because we didn't play up to our potential. And I think once you get into a final game and don't do that, you feel like you've left a lot out on the field. And it sits with you. And I think it's almost beneficial, because I mean, we're back and we know what that feeling is like, and it's not something you want to experience again.
Randy, the keeper notes. Follow up on the 2019 final. One thing that is different is Tierney Davidson would be on the field, and she was injured for that 2019 final. Can you talk about what she needs to do?
Yeah, I think that was a big loss for us heading into the 2019 final, especially with losing her, right up until about 2 days before. So I think just our entire back line has been tremendous this year, especially as the year has gone on. We've improved defensively together as a team, and I think she and Sarah and everyone that's been in the back line has been the core and kind of backbone to the team, and essential to us winning. And they obviously organized us from the back to the front. And so I think between the 2 center back pairing, it's been great to have both of them. And obviously Tierna brings a lot of composure on the ball. She's obviously been in big games now. She's getting more and more experience, and I think she's crucial for our team.
Next, we'll take a question from our junior reporter, Kayla.
So like you said, like leaving it all on the field, is one thing that you learned from last season. Is there another thing that specifically you learned from last season that will help you win tomorrow?
I think just this week and this experience in general, it's very different than just a normal game week. Press and just different events you have to go to and different things. So I think having that experience for us has been huge that we had in the past, and coming into it this year, we're not as surprised, or we know what to expect. So I think that really helped us.
And I would say also, heading into games like this and in big moments, you have to have a team that plays together and the entire 90 minutes. I think at this point, it's been such a long season, so the focus has to be there from the whistle when it blows to the end. And I think because every team is so good, and this league is a very transitional league, so at any moment in time, you have to be focused and tapped into the game and take all those moments and be good in every single one of them.
Vanessa, Steve Goff from Washington Post. What, from afar, what has been your observations of teams' observations of what Washington has gone through the last few months, and what have you learned about them as an opponent, them as people and players?
Yeah, they've been super resilient, and it's awesome to see and awesome to watch from a different point of view and just seeing what they've gone through and how they've stuck together and really kind of pushed through the end of the year. I'm sure it's tough to be in their environment, but they've really shown that they've stuck together, and I think it'll be a good game this weekend.
We'll take a question from Zoom. Vanessa, is a little bit of an extension on Dan's question, but both of these teams have been around for a while. So why does kind of having that history in the club matter at moments like this?
It's super important. I think, like Morgan said, there's been a group of players that have been together for many years at this club, and just you learn so much about each other, and especially in these high intense moments, you can turn to those people and rely on them. And I think because we've had a core group together, we've experienced so much together, so we know what to expect out of one another. And I think we can use that to our advantage.
And just to follow up, what would it mean to you to finally get the Red Stars that championship title?
I mean, obviously a lot. I think we have gotten to this point just in the playoffs in general so many times, and it would really be sweet to finally get one.
Any more questions in the room?
On this last one from me, question about the adversity that Washington has overcome this year and resilience. You guys have faced some of that yourselves or on the field in terms of the absences this year. Can you talk a little bit about how the group that has been available and been really consistent has bonded over just adding responsibility, and how it's going to help you tomorrow in the face of absences as well?
Yeah, I think, like you said, we've lost a lot of players over the course of the season. And I think our mentality has, one, we've always known that we're a really deep team. And two, the mentality has been the next one up. And we've really had to embody that this year. And we've had to really actually take that on because, like you said, we've lost so many players in big games at any points in time in the season. And I think this team has been extremely resilient in that. And people have stepped up and consistently performed when some other people are out, especially, throughout the whole season, we've had to endure that. And so for us, I think at this point in time, we're still going to be missing people. So it's no different tomorrow. But obviously we've also had experience in people stepping up and knowing what it takes to win, especially last weekend. We had a lot of people step up and we had to put on a great performance, and we did. And I think that'll help us as we move on to tomorrow.
I do have another question from Jeremy Bakula. This is the third straight season you've been in a final. Is there more pressure to finally get over the hump, or less pressure knowing you have previous experience to lean on?
We want to win tomorrow.
So I think with that, we can close out this press conference. Morgan, Vanessa, thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll have Rory up in a second.
Yeah, this one.
Yeah, no. Oh, yeah.
All right, we have head coach Rory Dames. Rory, any opening comments, remarks, or thoughts on tomorrow's match?
Yeah, we're excited to be here. We know what it's like to be into this game. We know what it's like to end up on the wrong side of this game. I think that 2019 game really stuck with us and has driven us through the last 2 years. So very proud of the group and what they've been able to overcome this year. be able to continue to perform regardless of who's been asked to do what. And we're really looking forward to the opportunity to get another chance to make the 2019 game not be in our memory anymore.
With that, we will open it up for questions. This is going to be the easiest press conference Rory's ever done.
Specifically, didn't want to ask on the status front. Now, Leah, Casey, Caleb, we considered yesterday, what was the current status of the rotation?
Casey and Kalia will not be available. Not sure on Kayla and Mal, but I think we're supposed to find out in the next hour. Just up-to-date information as I have.
You don't know if they'll train.
I'm sorry?
You don't know if they'll train.
I would say if they train, then they're good for tomorrow, and if they don't train, then they probably don't play tomorrow. Between Kayla and Mal.
And just tactically, Rory, the game itself, we talked last week, mentioned maybe in 2019, you learned to not change what you were already doing, potentially have absences as you, to some significance as you did in that game. Has that been just a reinforcement this week to yourself and the players to
Yeah, I think the second half of the season, the identity that's kind of taken the team isn't a big mystery to anybody, actually, since we were here last time, we were here for the tournament. So we, depending on who we play against, maybe changes some of the triggers or some of the spaces that we give away or don't give away. But the underlying principles stay pretty constant. So I think with Washington, they're a little bit different than Portland. So we'll have to do some different things against them. But we won't get away from who we are. So I know that doesn't always make for a real exciting game, but our job is to win the game. That's what we're going to try to do.
Keeper notes. This has been the longest year of the WSL competition ever, with the Challenge Cup and the extended season. But Chicago has really come on and plays the best soccer down the stretch. What is it about your team that has prevailed in such a long year?
It's a good question. I think if you go all the way back to Challenge Cup last year, I would say the last 18 to 19 months have seemed like 3 or 4 years probably for everybody that's been involved in it. But when you deal with real life issues, your team has real life conversations and they grow together and they get to know each other maybe a little bit on a little bit more real level than they would otherwise. So I think when we took the injuries that we took at the beginning of the year this year, we could have felt sorry for ourselves and gone that road, or figured out a way to be successful and have other people take bigger roles. And I think the credit goes to the group, because the players that we lost, you don't replace. You don't replace Alyssa, you don't replace Julie. You just don't replace those kinds of players. So it takes everybody giving a little bit more to help make up for what you lose. And I think that's where the team's really excelled. Even in the last week when we don't have Mal and Kay gets hurt early. KJO came in and gave her best performance of the year on both sides of the ball. I know the goal is what stands out, but her work rate off the ball defensively was incredible. So I think that's kind of how we've built the group since we've been here for the tournament. It's the next one up, and this is who we are, and this is what we do. And when you get called upon, be ready, and whatever task you're given, do your best to carry it out for the group. And I think the second half of the season, the team has really embraced it. It's a credit to them.
Claire Asma.
You're right, no office, just on sports. Can you talk a little bit about Washington specifically? You guys have the season series over them, but you haven't played them under kind of this, obviously under new management, sort of the new style of the way that they're playing. How do you make those adjustments leading up to playing a team that looks quite different than they did midway through the season?
Yeah, Chris has done an incredible job under very difficult circumstances. So credit to him and his staff for what they've done there, to those players for the run they've gone on. I know some of them, not surprised that they've been able to do what they've done. I think the biggest thing that's changed in how they play is, in the past, Washington was very possession oriented, very much wanted the ball, very much about passes. If they broke your pressure, they broke your line, they give you a chance to recover. They might make a sideways pass, they might go back and try to change the point, they would give you time to get numbers behind the ball. I think the biggest thing that's changed is once they break your line, they're coming at you, and their front three are very dynamic. Sanchez sitting underneath is very dynamic. So if you get it wrong or they break you, they punish you. So I think for us, we just have to make sure if we get it wrong, we get it wrong in the right spaces. And when they get out, we're gonna have to be really good in defensive transition and knowing where their runs are coming from, because their movements are very good. They're willing to put balls in behind because they have people that can stretch you. They do a really good job of getting up underneath for second balls and then it hurts you in the next phase. So I think everything else is pretty similar, a little bit more compact defensively, but in the attack, they come to hurt you a lot faster than they used to.
Quick follow-up. You guys have gone through obviously diversity with absences this year. Can you talk a little bit about what players people can watch for tomorrow who are going to be the leadership for this team, people who have stepped up in the face of those absences?
That's a good question too. I think we've had multiple people step up. I think that's one of the biggest things with the group. I don't ever think there's a positive to having players get hurt, let alone important players get hurt. But I don't think it's a secret that Julie filled a lot of leadership roles for the group when she was here and she was healthy. And I think what we've learned with Julie not being able to be here for the year is there are a lot of other players with leadership qualities that have stepped up. So I don't think it's one or two people. I think it's 6, 7, or 8 people that have all taken a little bit more responsibility, but collectively through the group has made the group a lot stronger and certainly out of possession a lot harder to break down and unlock because the communication is very good. I think you can look through the core of the players that have been here for that, but I also think the addition of somebody like a Sarah Woldbaum, who has come in and been incredible for us, and not just in her play, but there's a reason she was a captain there for so long. And I think Kaylee also, not part of that original core, but there's a reason she was a captain where she was for so long. So we have a very experienced group with a lot of very good players who are a lot of really good people, and they've just found a way to put it all together. But I don't think I could just give you one or two. I think it's the collective that makes them hard to break down and hard to beat.
We'll go to a question from Zoom. Rory, would you be able to tell us when Pugh and Sharples entered the COVID-19 protocol?
I actually don't know. That'd be a question for the medical staff.
Easy enough. We will
I
go.
honestly don't know.
I don't either, so. We'll go to your favorite reporter, Kayla from MasterCard, our junior reporter.
She was the hardest one yesterday.
Hello. So, what players have you really seen grow throughout this season?
On my team or in the league?
On your team.
Okay, just making sure. I think that's a great question. I would kind of give the same answer. I don't think I could just give you 1 or 2 players. I think a lot of players have grown. Some have grown in their leadership. Some have grown in their mental fortitude. Some have grown in their actual playing on the field. But I think there's been a lot of growth within the group this year. Not everybody's grown in the same specific area, but I think it's that collective growth that's gotten us here. No problem.
Any more questions in the room? Jeff?
Just, there's been a lot of volatility this year in so many ways, expansion, plumbing. Maybe all of those things kind of come together to highlight for a lot of teams. Like, this was a year to take advantage of who they have. Obviously, the 2 remaining, Chicago and Washington. Just wondering, you guys have been here 6 straight years now. Is that feeling of like, this needs to be, obviously you want to win, but this needs to be the time to get the job done.
Yeah, I mean, I think we felt like that in 2019. I think we felt like that at the end of the Challenge Cup. Yeah, I think whenever you have the opportunity to get to these kinds of games, you want to win. It's hard to get here, especially in this league. So I would say the 2019 game was hard for multiple reasons. And I think last year that was a big driving force to get back to that game. And then we obviously didn't really have that game. So I think there's a lot of people here that it's been a 2-year run to get back to this game because of 2019. What people choose to do after this game, I have no idea. But this has been what we've set out to do is to try to get back to this game and get another chance. And we obviously don't have the same group, but we have the same core group. And anybody that was on our team for that game, I'm sure could tell you the disappointment they still feel from the game. So is it a win now or a win later? I think the club's done a good job of setting themselves up for success short term and then still always having an eye on the long term. But I think with this group of players, it would certainly be nice to get it done with them. They've been great for the club. They've been great for the league. They just have to go out and execute for 90 minutes, which they've done the whole second half of the season. So I'm very excited for them and their opportunity.
We have another one from Zoom. We've touched on this a little bit, but speaking about the opponent, can you give your opinion on Chris Ward and what he's accomplished this year, having in mind that he did step into this interim role?
Yeah, I think I touched on that earlier, but the job that he's done has been remarkable under not normal circumstances. So for him to be able to steady that ship, make sure the players were where they needed to be emotionally, and then sort the soccer out and improve the soccer, add little layers that they thought they needed to get better at, I think is a credit to him and his entire staff. And it's also a credit to the players. I think everybody in the league this year lived a life of following the lead of the players. And I'm certainly lucky that I have an incredible group of players in my locker room. And I'm sure Chris would tell you the same thing. But you still have to be able to organize them and structure them and lead them there. And I think he's done an unbelievable job. I mean, he hasn't lost. It's a pretty good record when you haven't lost.
Any other questions? All right, well, Rory, appreciate it. Thank you. Good luck. We'll see you tomorrow.